Look at me pressing buttons. All right. Look at me pressing buttons. Okay. So we're at kind of a weird angle just because I have the tripod set up. It's like in the corner of my room. So we'll see how this goes. Hopefully you guys can see me okay. And I'm going to ask you to mute yourselves because that's just going to be a little easier for me until I figure out this whole phone thing instead of the computer, if you don't mind. But we'll go ahead and get started. And I do have an idea for class today, so I'm not taking suggestions. But since it's a new year, I wanted to focus on sort of a New Year's class. But I have to tell you that I'm kind of sick of all this is so not a yogic thing to say, really, but I'm sick of like all this, oh, everything's going to be great and I'm so happy and, you know, let's move forward and be positive and all that. I mean, they're all really good things, but I'm kind of tired of hearing about it. And what I really, really want for us to practice today is a practice for ourselves where we can allow ourselves to really experience what we really have felt over the past year and what we really want to manifest for the next year, and accept that it doesn't have to be great. We can feel angry, we can feel sad, we can feel excited for what's to come, or maybe we don't feel that way, but however you feel, that's what I want you to own today. Has anyone ever like come up to you, it's like, oh, how are you today? And really all you want to tell them is the truth and be like, you know what? Everything is kind of shitty, but you don't, right? You're like, oh, I'm fine. How are you? But sometimes I think it's okay to be really honest with yourself and honest with others and tell them that, you know, maybe everything isn't okay, or maybe it will be okay, but it's not right now. Whatever it is, that's just how I'm feeling about all of this. I don't know. So I am myself. I'm unhappy with, you know, last year. It was terrible in lots of ways. And I am excited for a new year, but I am going to allow myself in this practice today to not shut out any of my feelings. If they're negative, fine. If they're positive, fine. Whatever they are, I'm just going to roll with it. And I invite you to do the same. So we're going to work on some hip opening first. We're going to kind of start from the bottom up because, if you just joined in, please mute yourself. I'm on my phone today, so it'd be helpful if you can mute yourself. But we're going to start with hip opening because in yogic theory, we hold a lot of feelings in our hips. It's to do with chakras and stuff. So we're going to work on some hip opening and release some of these feelings. And then I want to move up into the heart space. And I want to expand through that. And you can send energy out. You can bring energy in. We're going to get a little bit into that side of yoga today. But I want to we'll start with all of our flow, but we're going to focus on hip opening, moving up, and then heart opening today. All right? So now that I've spoken, I have spoken. We're going to move on, and like everybody to find their comfortable seat. And like I said, I can still hear a couple of people. Maybe mute, check to see if your mute is on. And then we're going to find a seat, and I would invite you to find one that's more hip opening this morning. Start to settle in and close your eyes. You can place your hands either palm down on your knees or palm up, whatever works for you this morning. Notice your breath, and again, notice how you're feeling, really being honest with yourself. How are you feeling this morning? And then notice where you might be feeling those feelings. Maybe it's a sense of tension in your low back. Maybe you feel anxiety in your chest. Maybe you feel light as a feather and like you're floating on air. Just notice how your body feels in relation to those emotions. Wherever you might be feeling those feelings manifest in your body, bring your breath into those areas or specific area. Start to see if you can find any sort of release in that space. Relax your jaw and relax the space in between your eyes. Then I'll invite you to bring your hands to heart center with a little space in between the palms to hold an intention for yourself for this practice. And I would encourage you to set a form of intention, something like, I allow myself my feelings. I allow myself my thoughts. And then let's begin to open the eyes, bring the hands down. And we're going to move right into some cat-cow and just start to get loosened up here. So palms are going to be face down directly under the shoulders. I hope you can see me all right. You're on the tops of the shins, tops of the feet are down, and just start to drop the belly and gaze comes upward, or maybe have your eyes closed. Inhale, and then exhale, press up into that cat back. And inhale, cow. Exhale, cat. Let's do that one more time. Inhale and exhale. And then just take a little free movement with your body here. You might roll your hips side to side. Maybe take sort of like a rounded movement, moving your head and your neck and your hips. Open up all through that mid body. We're really going to focus on hips all the way into the chest. So find expansion in the chest and a little bit of movement in those hips. And then let's press back, child's pose. And then I'm going to move into a pose I'm not sure we've done before. And if you have a block, you might grab it. It's a little bit of a chest opener here before we get into our flow, but it's called puppy pose. And the first version of it is it's sort of similar to child's pose, but you come forward just a little bit. Your hips stay up high, and you bring your chest, your chin down to the floor. So you're not sitting back. You're really pressing your chin to the floor, finding expansion in the chest. And if you have a block, if that's too much, you can use a block and rest your chin on the block. Or maybe you have a stack of books or whatever you have, but find that expansion in your chest and in your shoulders. Rise up onto those elbows, and then let's come on to the belly. Since we're here, let's take a Sphinx pose, okay? So Sphinx pose, we have the tops of the feet down. It's kind of like cobra, but on the forearms, right? So forearms are parallel to each other. Tops of the feet pressed down, knees are lifted off the ground. Really press the tailbone, sorry, not the tailbone, the pubic bone into the floor. Squeeze your glutes to protect your low back. Open your chest, open across the collarbones. And then release. We'll come down into that beginnings of a plank push-up. So hands by the rib cage, and then press up into plank and push back. That first down dog. You can pedal your feet. Wake up the back of the legs. This pose is a heart opener too. When you think about it, take a moment to find stillness. Press those heels down. Lift the tailbone, arch the back, and press the chest through the arms. Really finding a little bit of a back bend here. Open wide across the chest. One more big breath here. And then let's waddle walk our feet in. So with straight legs, waddle, waddle, waddle all the way up. And then come into a forward fold. You can take your feet a little bit further apart if you like. Maybe you want them about shoulder width distance. And I love to sway back and forth here a little bit. Get a little stretch in my back. And since we are going to be doing heart openers, that involves back bends. So let's really find that stretch in our back. Let the head hang low. And then take your feet and you're going to turn them out. So we're still in that forward fold, but I want you to take your toes to the side of your mat. And now forward fold. So heels towards the center, toes towards the side. You'll just feel a little bit different stretch in your hamstrings and behind the knees. And then toes come back forward, step the feet together. Let's bend the knees and roll up one vertebra at a time. Roll those shoulders out. And I'm already hot, of course. So before we get into our Surya Namaskar A series, make any adjustments that you might need. I forgot to take off my socks. That's something I don't think I've ever told you guys. Yoga is meant to be practiced barefoot. Give it a try if you're wearing socks. Hands come to heart. Arms sweep out and up. Take the time here to lift up and then reach back. Open the heart. Squeeze the glutes. And then we'll forward fold all the way down. Hands to the floor. Halfway lift. Plant the hands. Step back. Plank pose. Pause here in plank. Take a moment to check out your form. Make sure your shoulders are above the wrists. You're squeezing your navel to your spine, really lifting up through the back body. Don't sink in those shoulder blades. Spread them apart. And then lower all the way down. We'll tuck the toes onto the tops of the feet. Gently lift up, cobra. Spread wide through the collarbones. And then release. Tuck the toes. Press back up. And lift back, down dog. Big breath in and out. Let's take that waddle walk back to the top of the mat. Forward fold. And reverse swan dive, lift, reach, arch the back, lift up, and hands to heart. Arms out and up. Flat back, forward fold, all the way down. Halfway lift. And step back, plank pose. Lower all the way down, elbows graze the ribs. Come to the tops of the feet, lift the knees, maybe press just a little bit higher up into that cobra. And release. Tuck the toes, back up to your plank, and down dog. Big breath in and out. Find that expanse across the chest. Last time, waddle walk those feet in. And forward fold. Reverse swan dive lift. Hands come to heart. We can speed it up a little this time. Add that jump if you're ready. Reach up, arch that spine. And forward fold. Halfway lift. Find your flow. If you're gonna jump, make sure you land in that chaturanga. And then you might want to take your up dog. Then press back down dog. Big breath in and out. Tie the toes if you're ready. Bend the knees. Jump to the top of the mat. Forward fold. Arms come out and up. Reach up. Hands to heart. 2 more times just like that. Arms out and up. And forward fold. Halfway lift. And move through your vinyasa. Lift those hips. Tie the toes. Bend the knees. Come to the top of the mat. Forward fold. 1 more time. Lift up. Hands to heart. Arms out and up. And flat back, forward fold. Halfway lift. Find that flow. You can always come to your knees, switch things up, do what works for you. Plant the toes, bend the knees, and come to the top of the mat. Forward fold, reverse lift, reach, hands to heart. Pause here, close your eyes. Take a moment, let's grasp the palms together at the sacrum and then extend through the elbows, really expand across the collarbones, lift up, reach up, and then just take a forward fold. Let the arms rinse out overhead. Open up through the shoulders. And then let's rise back up and release the hands. Move into Surya Namaskar B. Arms out and up. And flat back, forward fold all the way down. Halfway lift. Plant those hands. Move through your vinyasa. Pause and down dog. Right leg lifts. Bend and spin that hip open. Press the left heel down. So we're still finding expansion through the chest. Open up that hip. Extend right leg long. Then we're going to bend the knee, rotate the hip down, and knee comes to nose, pause. And then lift, rotate the knee. We're not going to extend the leg up. This time we're going to extend it to the side. So you should be making like an L shape with your legs. Bend the knee, heel comes back. Rotate the hip, nose to knee, pause. One more time, bring that knee up, rotate the hip, and extend the leg to the side. And then foot comes back in, rotate the hip down, step the foot through in between the hands. Bring the left knee down, left shin, then rise up tall. Press through the hips, press forward, arms reach out and up. And then let's bend the elbows. Reach your hands for those shoulder blades. Open up here. Opening the front of the hips. Open that heart space. And then release the hands, bring them back down. We'll take the stretch, walk the foot over to the side, right foot, so that the edge of the right foot meets the edge of the right edge of the mat. Rotate over the foot, weight comes into the left palm. Press that right inner thigh open. Shoulders away from the ears. And then release, walk the foot back in. I'm gonna rise back up here. I want you to bend the left foot behind. Right arm reaches forward and behind. So you're a little bit of a twist. Reach for those left toes. Feel the stretch in your left quad. Still stretching in those hips as well and opening that chest. Then release the foot. Tuck the back toes, step back, plank pose, and find your flow. Meet in down dog. Left leg lifts. Bend and spin that hip open. Right heel down to the mat, square the shoulders. Extend the left leg. Then bend the knee. Rotate the hips square. Bring the knee to the nose. Pause. Bring that knee back up. Extend the leg to the side. Then foot comes back to center. Rotate the hips down square. Nose to knee. Pause. One more time, bring that leg up, keep the knee bent, rotate the hip open, extend the leg to the side, and bring that foot in. Square the hips down. Step the foot in between the hands. Lower the back knee, back shin, chest lifts. Press the hips forward. Reach up, bend the elbows, reach back for that space behind your heart. Open across the chest. Keep pressing forward into the hips. And release the hands. Bring the hands in towards the center of the mat. Right hand comes to the right edge of the mat. Left foot walks out to the left edge of the mat. Open through the hips by pressing left palm into the inner left thigh. Weight comes into the right hand. Really twist that chest. Find that openness there. You can find it just a little bit more. Open the hips. Open the collarbone. Then walk the foot back in. Chest lifts. We're up on those right fingertips. Left arm reaches forward and behind to grab the right toes. Still, think about opening through the chest. Open through the front of the hips here. Then release the foot. Hands come back in. Step back. Plank pose. And find your vinyasa. Kneeling down dog. Let's do 3 big breaths in and out. In and out. And with every exhale, open your chest even more. And by that, I mean press your chest through your arms, back towards your knees. Find the toes, bend the knees, and come to the top of the mat. Forward fold. Reverse lift all the way up, and hands to heart. Arms come out and up. Find that back bend. Flat back, forward fold, all the way up. Halfway lift, and move through your vinyasa. Kneeling down dog. Right leg lifts. Bend and spin that hip open. This time we're going to stay static here. We're going to extend the leg. Okay, so we're just going to extend to the knee. So extend to the side. Hold. Bring back in. Extend to the side. Hold. Bring back in. One more time. Extend to the side. Hold. Bring back in. Rotate the hips square. Step the foot through. Come up, pyramid pose. So we're going to extend through that right leg. Bring the nose to the knee. Find length in the back of that hamstring. Press the left heel down. Find your breath. Now bend the front knee. We're going to rotate into Skandasana. So we're rotating towards the side of the mat. We're going to find a deep bend in the right knee. Sit the hips down. Left toes towards the sky. Press your inner right thigh with the back of your right tricep. Find that opening in your hips. Try to open up the chest. Try to sit up nice and tall. Hands come back down. We're going to walk back over into that front lunge. Okay, so we're on the same side. Back up into pyramid pose. One more time here. Now bend the front knee. We're going to rise up into warrior two. So warrior two, right knee over right ankle, left heel down to the floor, chest lifts nice and tall. Reach forward, arch back, open up that side body, open up the heart space, and then reach forward, side angle. 2 more times, arch back, and reach forward. Arch back, reach forward. And from here, extend the front leg, triangle pose. So it's like you take pyramid and turn it on its side, sort of. That torso lifts, really rotate the heart skyward. Feel the openness in that right, it's like your right groin area. Lift, lift, lift. And then left hand comes back down, bend the front knee, step back, plank pose, move through your flow. Left leg lifts, bend and spin the hip. Now we're going to keep the hips steady where they are. Just extend the left leg to the side. Extend, and then bend the knee back. Extend, bend the knee back. One more time. Extend, bend the knee back. Rotate the hips down square. Bring the foot in between the hands. And we're going to see if I can remember what I did, because I don't. I think we're just going to go into pyramid. I'm not sure if that's right. So hold that pyramid pose. Try to press your right heel down. Release your head and neck towards your knee. And then bend that front knee. We're going to rotate our torso towards the side. Lift the right toes up, Skandasana. Sit deep in those hips. Left knee towards the sky, left tricep pushes into that inner thigh, chest lifts. Then release, walk back over towards the left for the lunge. And then we're going to sweep our arms up into warrior two. Find the stability in the pose, opening up through the hips, open through the chest. Then reach forward and arch back. And then forward for side angle. 2 more times. Lift back. Extend forward. Lift back. Extend forward. Left leg straightens. Find triangle pose on the left side. Find that slight arch in your back. Really finding openness across the front body. And then hand comes down. Palms come down, step back, plank pose. Find your vinyasa. Hips back, down dog. 3 big breaths in and out. With every exhalation, open that chest. High on the toes. Bend the knees. Come to the top of the mat. Forward fold. Reverse lift. All the way up. Hands to heart. Let's step out to the side for star pose. Star pose, toes point forward. Hips are facing forward. Both arms lift. And we're going to forward fold over the legs. Flat back first. Pause when you're parallel to the floor. Now take both hands down. Plant your palms. Left palm comes in front of the face. Right hand is going to reach up behind you. Find that twist. Reach up and back. Then release. Switch sides. Right palm comes down in front of the face. Left hand reaches up behind you. Release, hands come back to center. Now fold over those legs. Any amount. You can rock side to side. Get a little stretch in the back of the legs. Pause here, find that heaviness. Now take the hands back at the sacrum. We're gonna extend through the elbows, rinse the arms out overhead. So at the same time, you're reaching those hands over the heads. Think of pulling the chest in between the legs. Nice. Release the hands. We're gonna take the wide second now, right? So we're gonna take the heels and rotate them in towards the center. So toes are out towards the side. And we're gonna come into Malasana. So we sit down, hips come down, chest lifts. Think about opening through the hips. All at the same time, we're keeping the chest nice and lifted. Now stay in this deep pose if you can. Press your left hand down. We're gonna reach the right arm up and over. Build strength in your legs here. And then switch. Right hand comes down. Left arm reaches over. Then release. And then we're gonna straighten the legs back up into a forward fold. Just hang heavy here for a minute. Send your breath into those places that you feel opening. Then we're just gonna bend the knees and roll up one vertebra at a time. Again, take a couple of shoulder rolls here. And then we're gonna come down into a seat. So make your way down to your mat. And we're gonna start in fire log pose. We've done this one before, but just as a refresher, let's start with our left leg on the bottom. So left leg is on the bottom, trying to keep my shin parallel to the side of my mat. And then I'm gonna take the right foot and bring it on top of the left thigh. So I'm trying to keep both my shins as parallel to the edge of my mat as I can without hurting my knees. So you might take a minute to adjust yourself. You're gonna really feel that openness in your hips here. Take a moment to settle into it. We're not gonna do anything with our hands just yet. Maybe just place the palms down to your side. And like I said at the beginning, in yogic thought, a lot of emotion lives in our hips. And when we release it, which is hard to do sometimes, your muscles want to hang on to it, right? See if you can release it. See if you can make that less of a struggle. Whatever lives in there, let it come out. Sometimes in these deep stretches, if you hold them for a long period of time, different feelings come up, emotions come up. Maybe you're frustrated. Maybe you want out of the pose. Maybe it begins to feel good. Maybe you sit in a place of judgment about how you can't do it or how you don't like it. All those feelings are acceptable. They are what they are. Just sit with them. Let them be what they are. Maybe they transform over time. Maybe they shift. But take whatever comes up. Open your chest and let it come out. And then we'll begin to bring the chest forward over those legs. Find any sort of forward fold here. If you have a block, you can put it under your forehead. Give yourself something to rest on that can make it a little bit easier. You don't feel like you're fighting as much. And the blocks, you know, they have different levels, so you can change them to suit your needs. Just try to let it be a place of ease, as easy as it can be. And my muscles want to seize up. I feel my muscles like grabbing. See if you can just bring space there, bring your breath there. And then we'll rise up, lift the chest. Take your block, just make sure it's kind of out of the way. Bring the feet in. We're just going to windshield wiper them out a little bit. So you want your feet kind of wide. I'm just going to take the knees from side to side. Rock out any tension that might have come up there. And then we'll switch sides. So right foot on the bottom this time, or right leg. Right shin parallel to the edge of your mat as much as you can get it. And then the left leg comes on top. Take a moment to adjust yourself. Find a spot where it is, you know, not, I wouldn't say it's comfortable, right? You can find ease in that pose. And then let your spine be tall. Let your hips melt down. Knees, letting gravity pull them down to the ground. And if you need support for your knees, that's fine. You can put a block under them. If they're just not going to come down, you can put a blanket, whatever you might need. Settle into this opening. And then when you're ready, we'll begin to fold forward over the legs. If you have that block or a prop, you can put that under your head. Notice that maybe this side feels different. Maybe it's more open, maybe it's less open. And the thing about letting that tension release. And with the heart face down, send that tension out through the back body. Imagine that space directly behind your heart. And let those feelings of tension and unease release outwards, backwards, skywards, away from the inside. Let go of any tension that might be in the neck. Remember to breathe. One more breath. And then lift all the way up. And set your block a little bit out of the way. A couple more hip things here before we move into our heart openers and back bends. Let's take the feet together. Skandasana. Again, if you need a little prop under your knees, take that. And think about really getting the knees down. And if it's available to you, think about rotating the bottoms of your feet up. So they're like a cup, right? You can open them like a book. It takes a lot of mobility actually in the hips to make that happen in the feet too. So we're working on our turnout here, right? Open those hips. And you can even feel like I'm gonna actually grab my thigh bones and I'm gonna take my hands and rotate them. I'm gonna use a little bit of force and feel that in my legs. I'm gonna take the top of my thigh and really pull it down and around. Core activates here. Try both legs. It's not a comfortable position for a lot of people because we really, you know, most people, their hips aren't super open like that. But you want to think about taking those hip joints, they're ball and socket, right? So you want to take them and really rotate them around and under. So you're not pushing on your knees, you're using your hips to get the knees down and rotate those feet up. Now bring that heart space towards the feet. Reach forward. Again, think about, like I said, the heart, not the head, reaching into that cup that your feet are making. Whatever feelings this pose brings up for you, let them spill out into that cup. And then release the head and neck. And hang heavy. Again, if you want to use your block as a prop, feel free. I highly recommend buying blocks if you can. They're not expensive. You can get, you can get them on, of course, I always get everything on Amazon, but you can get them sort of all over the place. And then if you have your prop, move it out of the way. Reach forward, come up. Then we're going to take nice wide straddle, just as far as you can go. Now, I'm going to show you something that is not my thing, but there are some people who can do this and really enjoy this. They really like it. Something you can try if you want to work more on this sort of inner hip opening. Some people like to take these blocks and put them like under their ankles or their heels, so they're getting even more of a stretch here. I know that probably sounds crazy, but if you do that, you're working on what's called your oversplits, and it's just a really different kind of stretch. So if you are open in those hips or in your hamstrings, you might give it a try sometime. Feels kind of good. It also looks like you're in the circus, right? Otherwise, you just take your plain wide straddle. And you're going to feel those hips rotate again. Take a moment to rotate them under and then forward. And notice what that does to your torso, right? When you tuck them under here, your back rounds. And then when you rotate them the opposite way, you feel that length in your spine, your chest lifts, right? So that's the action we're looking for here, actually. We're reaching those hips to open from the inside, rotating them actually sort of in the opposite direction. So it's like you're taking, you can maneuver yourself, put your hand under your thigh, and you're going to lift and pull forward. Lift and pull forward. What does that feel like in your hips, right? You might feel tension in your low back. And if you do, pull back on that a little bit. All of this opening takes time. And like I said, we store so much in those hips, those feelings. Sometimes we're not as limited by our physicality as we are by, our mental state, right? Maybe we don't think we can do it, or maybe we don't want to experience what feelings come up when we allow ourselves this sort of openness, vulnerability. And then let's begin to walk forward. You can come onto your forearms if that's available to you. Maybe you're super open and you can bring your whole chest down, your head. I'm going to use my block. Remember to breathe. Flex the toes up towards the sky. This is our last little hip opener here, and then we're going to move into the back bend series. Hard openers. Whatever comes up through these big openings in the hips and legs, we're going to release that through the chest, and then we're going to receive also into the heart. Maybe something we're afraid to ask for. Maybe something we don't think we deserve. Maybe it's a wish, maybe it's a hope. Or maybe you just want to send out that feeling that you've had, that anxiousness, that anger, that angst, that feeling of not knowing that's come over the past year. You can let that go. And then let's begin to come up. Grab that prop if you have it, move it out of the way. Just kind of shake your legs back in. And we'll take that little windshield wiper one more time. Release the back. Nice. We're going to go back to puppy pose really quickly to start our back bend series. So we're going to come into tabletop, right? And so for puppy pose, again, just to remind you, hips stay lifted, chest comes down. So you really want to walk your arms forward. See if you can get your chin any closer to the mat than it was last time. Bend in the back, open across the chest. Find your breath. And from here, we're going to go back into Sphinx Pose. So we're going to bring the chest forward. Come on to the pubic bone, legs straight out behind you. Press palms and forearms into the mat. Press tops of the feet into the mat. Squeeze the glutes. Find that lift in the spine. Spread wide across the collarbone. Find your breath. Then release. Take the hands down to the side body, palms face up, just rock back and forth just a little bit. Release any tension that you feel in that low spine. Now hands are going to come back up. I'm going to take the left arm, the forearm parallel to the front edge of the mat. We're going to bend the right knee, left leg stays straight, right arm reaches forward, and then rainbow back to grab the top of that foot. Now I'm going to walk my hand down, not very gracefully here, so that I've got my toes kind of up in my elbow, right? Think about pulling the shoulder away from the ear, still finding expanse in that collarbone, still a back bend. So squeeze those glutes, press the pubic bone into the floor. Release the tension in that right quad. One more breath. And then release. Switch sides, right arm comes in front, forearm parallel to the front of the mat, right leg extends long, left knee bends, left arm reaches forward and rainbows back. You can just catch that foot, or if you want to try to really walk that in, that deep quad stretch. Remember, you're pushing the forearm into the mat so that you can keep that space across the chest open. Squeeze the glutes, press the pubic bone into the floor. And then release. Nice. Again, take that little shake out here. And we'll find bow pose. Bow pose. We bend both knees. Feet come towards the sky. We lift the chest and we reach either for the feet or the ankles, whatever feels best for you. So you reach back, grab your ankles, and then think about pushing your pubic bone into the floor, reaching your feet towards the sky, and lift the chest. Take 3 big breaths here. Feel how your body rocks back and forth. One more. And then release back down to the floor. I'm gonna keep my eye on the time. One more pose before I invite you to try wheel, which is the full back bend, if that's something that you want to try. But first, come find plank and we'll move into pigeon pose. And I'm not sure if I can demonstrate Royal King Pigeon today, but we'll see. So we're gonna take the right foot, swing that up to the top of the mat so that the right shin is as parallel to the top of your mat as you can get it. See if you can sit up. Let your hips sink down. Just come up as far as you can. Whatever feels okay for you. Maybe you have a block that you want to press into to help you stay steady. Now, if you're ready for the next part of this back bend, we bend that left leg, reach back for the left foot. Pull the left foot in. Now, Royal King Pigeon, I used to be able to do it on the other side. I don't know if I can do it anymore, but I will give you an idea when we go to the other side, because I have my strap. Let's see if I can do it. But Royal King Pigeon, you're reaching up and back, and you actually grab your back foot with both hands. So maybe take your right arm up. Just check out how this feels here. And then release the foot. Come back up to plank. Switch sides. And while you're switching sides, I'll grab my strap and see if I can do it. I don't know. So we're in pigeon, chest lifted. Find length in the spine, open across the heart. Reach for the back foot if it's available to you. And then if you want to lift that left arm up, go for it. And if I could get into King Pigeon, that would be cool. Ooh, don't know if I can. I haven't done it in a really long time. So Royal King Pigeon basically, oh gosh, is like this, right? But you're grabbing your foot. Oh, see, I'm gonna fall over. So that's how you work on that. Obviously, it's been a while. But it's a really great back bend if you're open. This time, let's swing the leg around. And we're gonna move into that final back bend position if it's something that you wanna take. So for wheel, now wheel is really hard for me too because I've got a bottom shoulder, but I can demo sort of a baby version. So you want to set yourself up, where you lay on your back, and you can graze your heels with your fingertips, right? And then you want to take your palms, so you're going to rotate them so that your fingertips are facing your shoulders. So your elbows are to the sky, your knees are to the sky. And then you push into your feet and your hands to lift your heart skyward. And you just go as far as you can. You don't want to be on your head. That can hurt your neck. So if you're up, squeeze those shoulders together. Squeeze the elbows together, squeeze the knees together. And then release by tucking your chin. Don't lay it on your head. And come back down. And then release. Take a moment to bring your knees into the chest. If you want to try the back bend one more time, go ahead. Otherwise, stay here. And notice how that felt. You might try it on your own again too. It's a lot of energy that you can release in those back bends. I think I'm going to do a back bend workshop. Workshop it out. Really warm up that spine, spend the time finding that final pose. And then after you're done playing with your back bend, maybe find a bolster or your block or a pillow. Rock up just a bit. We're going to take an open chest and open hip Shavasana today. So we're going to take, let's see, I'm trying to remember. We're going to take the feet into Konasana. And I'm trying to decide which way I want my block. I think I want the wide way. Yeah. And I'm going to lay on it. It's on its shortest setting. So it's like, it's this way. And if you have a bolster or a pillow, you can put it down. And it is right under my shoulder blades. And I'm going to let my head lay back on the ground, open wide across the chest. Let the hips be open. Find any version of this that feels comfortable for you. If it doesn't feel good for your neck, maybe you don't want to do this chest opener here, that's okay. But take this time now for the next couple of minutes to reflect on your practice. Come back to that intention that you set. Maybe you felt something open, maybe you felt something change, maybe you didn't, I don't know. Maybe you just feel release. Whatever you feel, welcome it. Breathe it down from your toes, up through the legs. Let it sit in the hips for a moment. And then bring it up the spine. And send it outward and upward through the heart space. Maybe on your inhale, you imagine taking what you need from the outside and bringing it into the heart space. And then taking it back down to the spine. Let it sit in the hips. And go down to the toes. Whatever you feel, and however you have felt, whatever you wish for, whatever you hope, know that it's all okay. You're allowed to feel and think and do all of those things however you feel. You don't need anyone's permission for those things. There's no judgment in those feelings. They're yours and yours alone. And then when you're ready, if you have a prop, you're going to want to roll off of it gently. Be mindful that it's under you. And we're going to take the knees and the torso and just roll to one side. A couple of runs here. And then when you're ready, we'll come back to a comfortable seat, eyes closed. Notice the position of your hands, what feels right for you, down, making maybe you feel more grounded, up if you still feel like you need to be in a receptive posture. Relax the jaw. Bring your hands to your heart with that intention. Your intention, the one that you said. Breathe it in. Exhale out. Thank each of you for practicing with me this morning. Hope you have a great rest of your weekend. Namaste. And I don't think I can unmute you because I don't know how. So let's see if you can unmute yourselves.
Thank you, Sarah.
Namaste, Sarah.